everybody. Welcome back to Thrive, where I believe you were not created to survive, but to thrive. And if you change yourself, you can change your world. I hope you're all doing well. Hope that you are subscribed and keep liking and sharing. Thank you for all the support. We are back with another episode with two of my brothers, co-laborers in the faith. My brothers Adam and John are in the building. You guys doing good?
Go. Amazing,
Yes,
my brother.
sir. Good to see you guys. How's life going?
Amazing. It's always an honor to be here. For real, man.
An honor to
Anytime
have
we
you
get
guys.
to speak with you, man, it's awesome.
And come on, it's awesome to do this. Awesome to do life and ministry together.
Yeah.
And always catching up. Today's episode, I want to focus on all things being a man. And I just want to make it extremely clear. This episode today, we are going to focus on manhood, what it means to be a man, what is a man, and then temptations of a man. Let's talk about it today. And so obviously, I know there are men and women that listen to this podcast, and thank you for being kind and always sharing and talking and sending messages of support, or if you see us at church, really appreciate it. Maybe this will help you, or maybe this will help a man that you know in your life. But today, it is directly at men. Let's talk about manhood, and we're going to do a few of these. But one, we're going to start, what is a man to you guys? What does it mean to be a man? In today's world, what is a man?
I hate how my brain works. I was gonna say I'm not a biologist, but no. I mean, a man. It's such a layered thing, and it's crazy because I'm actually in this season right now. When me and my wife found out we were pregnant, I immediately got obsessed with like fatherhood. All right, I'm reading books, I'm listening to sermons, I'm finding podcasts all about being a good father. Okay, got that. I'm still figuring it out, but got that down locked when it comes to the content I already consume. Now it's like, okay, how can I be a kingdom man? How can I be a strong man? And I think the principles are pretty.
Shout out to Pastor Tony Evans,
the GOAT, the GOAT, and
Calvary Conference.
Yeah, he'll be here. He'll be here in September 2026. That's right. And but that other than Tony Evans as well, other amazing men of God who have written content specifically on manhood. It's just it can be broken up into four things when it comes to what a Christ-centered man looks like, and you're going to be the prophet of a home, the priest of a home, the provider, and the protector. Very good. And it's like I want to make sure that I'm leading my family closer to the Lord. I want to make sure that.
Can you say those four things again? I think that was great. Four things that a man does or carries.
Yeah, they're the prophet, they're the priest, the provider, the protector.
Very good.
That's good.
How would you be the prophet of your home? What does that mean?
So basically, you think about the prophets of the Bible, right? Where they would just be essentially like the mouthpiece of God, like whether it was to bring to call for repentance, to give direction, to lead the charge. Essentially, the leader, the prophet is the one that you are in tune with the Lord, and He is guiding and directing and leading your family. Yeah,
we're going to continue with the other ones that you said, but that's a very good topic. Let's talk about that for a second. Yeah. I think in today's world, there are many men that are not leading spiritually. I've seen so a ton of guys who are not the spiritual leaders of their home. And again, not knocking anybody, not judging you. We're here trying to help each other out. But I agree. I think the men should be the one that leads spiritually. I know in my life, growing up, it was my dad who was always, I remember coming home and my dad was reading some book, whether it was a commentary or the Bible or some spiritual book by a pastor or something. And my dad always led the charge. He always led by example. My mom, a very strong spiritual leader as well. But my dad, Sunday mornings, my dad was ready. Let's go. We're going to church. He wasn't staying at home. He wasn't, and I mean, not just spiritually, but also getting up and going to work Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday. My dad always led. So I love that. A man, number one, is a prophet of the home. Priest. Okay, tell us what a priest looks like.
So a priest, if you think about it, is the minister. So what is the definition of minister? Ministry is the servant. So as a priest, I'm going to serve my family. I'm going to serve my children. I'm going to serve as a man in my society. I'm going to serve the people around me, my community. I'm going to lay down my own life for the embetterment of the people around me.
Very good. And then you said provider,
and that
obviously
one,
that's going to work.
Just do whatever you can. But provision isn't just only like, hey, I'm going to pay all the bills and I have all the money in the home. Provision can look like I'm going to provide the peace in the house. I'm going to provide. I'm going to do more than just the physical in this home. So the provider, and then the last one was protector. And again, that's pretty self-explained. Where it's like I got to make sure that I am someone who's willing to lay down my life for the people around me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's, you hear it time and time again about fight or flight. And it's like, as a man, you got to be ready to fight. And obviously not, God, Lord have mercy on us that we're never in a predicament where we have to.
Never physically.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be, but it's like, no, I'm going to fight for my family in any way possible, whether it's physically or if it's for legislation, whatever it is. It's like
so going back to the third one, it's provider. I love how you said it's not just providing financially. Hopefully, we all men understand we should be financial provider. Which, by the way, you don't even have to be the main financial provider.
Yeah.
Your wife can make a bigger salary. That's a whole nother topic. And I know some men don't like that, but hopefully you're bringing something into the house. You should be working and bringing something to the house. And maybe that'll start a whole nother topic. I know that now there's a lot of stay-at-home dads. And they're taking care of the kids. I don't know. Maybe that's a different topic. That's a little.
that's a hot topic.
I've seen it across different things. I would say, we'll talk about. They'll tackle that one later. But I think you are the provider. You're the one that should bring in financially. But I love how you said provide peace.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of things men could provide. I think what are some other things we could provide? As you were saying, providing clarity, I think.
Honestly, you bring love into your home. You provide love into your home. You provide joy. I think of the fruit of the Spirit. Like you literally are supposed to embody what the fruit of the Spirit looks like. And it's love, joy, peace, patience, faithfulness, goodness, kindness, self-control. These are all things that you bring into your home. You model these things into your home. And as you guys were talking, I was just thinking about Genesis chapter 2, because it's in Genesis chapter 2 where we see the creation of humanity. God created Adam first, not this Adam, but he created Adam first. And when he created Adam, Eve wasn't there yet. But Adam was created, and yet he still had a purpose. He still had, there was an individuality that was portrayed to Adam first, and the man he had to become. And I think sometimes even as men, we get so focused on the person that we're with or the things that we're a part of that we forget, God, you designed me first.
Absolutely.
You designed me first. I have to focus on the man that you've called me to be. I have to focus, and I should be getting better even the day you get married, even the day that you have kids. It doesn't mean that you stop working as yourself, on yourself 100%. As a man. You'll still work on that person, man. That's why I love that you talking about how much you were researching on how to be a better father, watching all these podcasts, reading a book. That's you saying, God, I know that you made me a man. I'm not going to wing this. And I'm going to go ahead and learn to be better in those things.
Always constantly learning, always constantly growing.
Right.
I love how you tied it to the fruits of the Spirit. I think we should be providing that as godly men. And there's a lot of things that we could provide in a home, not just financial. And then protector. I agree with you. We should be fighting for our family.
Right.
Hopefully never physically. And I think you should avoid any kind of physical, especially in Miami. The other day, there was some horrible news in South Florida. Some guys who just got caught up in road rage. And lost their life. And so I think you just got to be careful. Obviously, when we say protecting your family, there's a lot of different ways that you can protect your family.
For sure.
Fight for your family. Stay together. Fight to have quality time, fight to have memories, fight to protect and be there, and for lies in deceit not to enter your home. And so I love that. So you are priest, prophet, provider, and protector. What is a man to you, John? What else is a man to you?
Yeah, when I think about this, I think it's essentially you are the leader of your home. You are the person. If you cannot lead yourself, you cannot lead anybody else, and you cannot lead your home. I'll go back to just Genesis for a moment, because I think, again, God created the man. Then comes Genesis 3, which is the fall. And when we see that there is who gets the credit for the fall, it's not so much the one that ate the fruit first, which is Eve. The one that gets the credit for the fall is actually Adam. And the reason why is because there's a higher call to the man. Absolutely. There's a higher call to the man. And the one that was deceived by the serpent was Eve. But the one who had to make a conscious decision whether I'm going to follow this or not was the man. And so as the man, who you are is you're naturally a leader. I love this is a leadership podcast because it's like you're a leader of yourself. You're the leader of your home. You're the leader of what God has entrusted you with. And so I'd say that's what would make a man. Absolutely.
But think about that, right? You mentioned the fall, right? What we understand is the fall, that original sin that we all now inherit. But Adam could have protected Eve from the serpent.
That's right.
You know what
That's
I mean?
Right.
Like. And even in that, when the serpent tempts Eve and the serpent says, did God really say? It's like Adam could have said, "Hey, God gave me the command." No, he didn't say any of this.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep,
even when Eve responded, she put words in God's mouth. So it's like, you know, it's not to say that again, you know, she was completely misled and all that, which obviously that was the case with temptation. But like Adam failed in his role at that point to be the prophet, the priest, the protector.
Yep.
You know, so
it's true.
There's layers to this.
What do you think Adam was doing?
Hanging around.
Man,
But yeah, that's the thing. He was just in the garden, right? Yeah. And the Lord gave him the command.
And I asked that because sorry.
Yeah,
I asked that because I want to bring it practically.
Yeah.
Moments where we fail, right? We talked about failure. Adam failed.
Right.
Moments where we failed. What are we doing that we are not being the prophet, the priest, the provider, the protector? So what was Adam doing, right? And it seems silly, but I don't know, maybe he was off at the garden somewhere eating something else. He was hanging out with some of the animals. He was looking at a waterfall. I don't know. Just what are you doing that's taking you away from your role and your purpose?
It's true.
Yeah,
that's so true.
My mind lends itself. Obviously, the Bible doesn't confirm this, so this is just how my brain works. It's like, think about the Lord's command to him that you're to tend the garden. Yeah. So maybe he was out working. He was trying to be the provider.
So thank you. So I was just about to say, necessarily it doesn't even have to be something bad that you're doing. You know, he could have been tending the garden.
Yeah. True. So there's a lot of things that, like, even as we broke down again my thought process and how I break down being a man, like even the struggle I have with myself sometimes. You know, not just trying to say this for all of us. I mean, just for the people who are watching this, for all of us, really is. All right, when I'm trying to be the provider, I'm not there to be a protector. I'm not physically there.
Yeah.
So in the process of doing one, I'm failing at another. But and that's the beauty of life, is that you find your rhythm and you find what works. And that's part of being the protector as well. Is that I'm gonna fight to make sure that my family is being tended to spiritually, physically, in obviously in what they need physically as well, in the sense of like food, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll bring it down to another practical example. And maybe you guys know some you can share as well. So a father who's trying to provide for his home. So he's being an incredible provider, right? He's working overtime. He wants his family to be comfortable. He wants them to have good things in life. So he's working hard. He's an honest man, a hardworking man, a man who cares deeply for his family. So he is working. Working extremely hard. Now, he's not there to teach his children certain things. And so other voices come into their life, right? Because you're not there.
Correct.
So deceit comes, lies come, and now the daughter is being lied to by friends. The daughter is being lied to by TV, by shows that we watch, by magazines. Obviously, today, social media is the biggest influencer, the lies. And so she's receiving all this stuff. So what do we do in a case like that, where you are trying to be a good provider, and in being a good provider, now I look back, is it too late? I'm 15 years in, my daughter's 15, 16, 17, but because I've been trying to provide a good life for so long, somebody else got in her ear, and now she's doing the opposite of what I've wanted. What do we do in cases like that to either avoid, to help? I want to hear from. I have some thoughts, but I want to hear from you guys.
And the reason why I just keep twisting it, going back to this passage in Genesis, is because I think this is all of us, and then I'll go more on the practical sense, because I don't even think the problem as much was, where was Adam, right? So it's like, hey, I know you're kind of doing everything that you can. It was more the decision that came after. So it was, okay, Eve eats of the fruit. Now, Adam, the decision that you made to go ahead and eat of the fruit as well is where now the fall comes and everything happens, because now both of you. So come practically now, you're going to do whatever you think is right in that season. And I love that God is a God of seasons, and every season looks different. So in that season, you are going ahead and I'm going to provide, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to provide financially, and I'm working hard and I'm doing all these things. Come time now, you're seeing that your kid is in this scenario where they've been so infiltrated by culture, by all of these things. Now the decision comes, what happens now? So what do you do now? And you understand the role that you carry now. And so the roles that you carry might not be operable at the same time, but there's a different time and different hats that you have to wear in that part. So if you're provider one, the next one, you might have to be protector. And so what protector might look like is, I'm going to make sure I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure that my kid I'm taking him to church. And whether it might not be the fix right away, but hey, if you live in this household, you're going to go ahead and you're going to come with me to church. And there's no ifs, and or buts. You still live under my household. Maybe I have to punish you by taking away phone and taking away your any ability of you having this appearance to social media and all these things. And it sounds like it's extreme, and maybe it is for sure. But in that moment, you understand this is my next decision is the one, because I can't take back certain back decisions. There's things that we made, mistakes that we made. There's things that we've done wrong. But how you respond in the next season is what I think defines you as a man.
Huge. I think that's great. I think you're absolutely true. And I think you're right in what you're saying. I love that. What do you do in the season? So I'll think about examples that I've heard and lived with and all that over the last decade of leading. Okay, so let's say a father wasn't there, and now your daughter or your son are making terrible decisions. You can either now say, hey, that's fine. You know, what am I going to do? So now you don't continue to lead, because now, in fear of losing a son or a daughter, because they may rebel now, you almost start to approve what they're doing. Because now you are the father who wasn't there. So now I'm going to approve what you do, because I don't want to lose you.
I want to love you.
And so it's almost like Adam eating the apple, right? It's like, you made a bad decision. I'm going to join you in this bad decision. And again, none of this is easy. We are just getting started.
Absolutely.
I have a 3-year-old. You have 2 kids. You have
9-month-old.
All of our kids, I think, are under 4. We're just getting started. We're going to have another episode. We're going to bring in some of our other guys who have teenagers and adults that they've had. But it is something that we got to think about. That's all I'm bringing it to the table. Is like, let's think about it. We are not experts, far from it. We're trying to learn, but what do we do? You know, I think one of the things that I'm trying to do is, okay, I can understand working, and sometimes working overtime. So because you're trying to provide, you're going to have seasons in life, like John, you mentioned, where man, I'm at work. I can't be home. Okay, but now, the times that you are home, be intentional.
That's right.
Right. So I've known people who are working 2-3 jobs because they need to provide. That's a good man. By the way, I just want to shout out every man who is working 2-3 jobs to put food on the table. We commend you. We love you. We're here for you. We're proud of you. I've had men approach me and tell me, hey, this season of my life, I can barely make it to church because I'm working. And I would say, I commend you. You are being a good father, a good steward, a good provider. So again, this is the season of your life, right? Okay, so what do you do? Now, when you are home, be intentional. So what happens is, the times we're at home, we're on our phones. Right? So it's like, I'm not even talking to,
I just want to watch TV.
I'm not talking to my 4-year-old, 5-year-old, my 10-year-old, my 13-year-old, my 15-year-old, because now I'm just watching sports. I'm tired. I just finished working, 80 hours this week. The last thing I want to do is go and spend time, and go over some of these values. It's like, well, how about a family huddle, a family prayer night? I know it sounds crazy, but maybe this will help us, because we should be the priest, the prophet, the provider. So how can we do everything? We're not going to get all 4 at the same time. We may feel that one, but man, I'm going to try to get it next time. We're not going to get A's across the board all the time. So that's what I'm trying to think. I was like, okay, there's some people out there who are really in difficult positions. It's like, well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna delete all of my apps. So that way I'm not even tempted. So when I'm home, I can be attentive to them, to my wife, to my kids. I'm gonna make sure I'm bringing value. If I only have 3 hours with them on a Saturday, those 3 hours are gonna be full of life lessons in a good, approachable way. The last thing they want is another teacher on Saturday. I'm gonna take them to the park. I'm gonna go to the movies with them. I'm gonna talk to them. Hey, what'd you think about what we saw? Blah, blah. I'm just trying to think, as we are raising families ourselves, what can we do?
There's a verse that has convicted my life time and time again, and it's Proverbs 26:11, and it tells us, as a dog returns to their vomit, the foolish return to their folly. So the reason why I think of this, and I think of it in this right here, is because what we repeat matters. Because as men, you're going to make mistakes. We are going to make mistakes time and time again. Now, are you repeating the same mistake over and over again? And that's where we got to find ourselves, because if not, we're going to be just like that dog that's returning to their vomit. So you're repeating the same thing and hoping it's going to get better. And that's literally the definition of insanity. It's repeating something over and over and expecting a different result. And it's insane. Like we, as men, okay, I made a mistake in this area.
Yeah.
And you acknowledge it. And I think that's the beautiful thing about how the Lord invites us into repentance.
Yeah, very good.
And the grace of God. The grace of God is, hey, I'm going to pick you up, but now just don't go back and turn around towards what you were doing.
Yeah.
He gives us a direction to turn towards him.
100%.
And so it's like, okay, I made a mistake. And we can all acknowledge in the mistakes that we make as a father, as a husband.
Yeah.
And when you're dating, even as a single person, you're going to make mistakes. Don't return to those same mistakes that you made. And I think that's what defines you. It's
Yeah,
your next
absolutely.
step. It's your next decision, the things that you keep going to.
Yeah, 100%. And like I love what you said, is seasons, right? So it's like if in that season I made some mistakes, hopefully at this season I'm gonna repeat those mistakes and go back to my vomit. I'm thinking about men that we've all talked to and dealt with and are trying to help, or we ourselves. It's like if I'm in a season where Sunday is my only day off because I'm so tired, I make a decision not to go to church. I'm gonna stay home and watch some football, chill. Well, I mean, that's something that you are now implementing in your life, and you're saying church is not a priority.
Yeah.
Right? And I get it. It's your only day off. You're tired. But again, if you're going to be that provider, that prophet, that priest, that protector, one of the ways of protecting your home is laying a good foundation.
Yeah.
Is being the mouthpiece, is being the example, is being that man of God.
Yeah.
So even though Sundays I am tired, I'm going to try to go to later service. I'm going to try, but then I'm going to go out and, go to Cheesecake Factory with the family. Then come home and watch a game.
Yeah.
I would say that's an example I had in my life. My father would work hard. My dad, to this day, he's a hardworking man. Shout out to my father. He's 70 years old and working his tail off every single day.
Yeah.
I would say he did a few things. If he could, he would bring us along to work with him. You know how many nights I was in a roof with my dad? I'm talking about at 10, 11, 12 years old with my brother, my sister. I still have this one clear core memory of my life where we were on a roof of this retail kind of store out in the open in Hialeah. And my mom brought KFC for us to eat dinner while my dad was finishing installing a sign. We were all having KFC. I must have been, I don't know, maybe 8, 9, 10 years old. And my family always fought. There we go to, what you can fight for, and us staying together.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, your dad's working late night tonight? Well, we're all going to go join him.
Yeah.
And it was like a Friday night or something like that. We were very little. So instead of staying home and doing nothing, my mom's like, no, let's go be with your dad. He's by himself. We're going to be with him.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there to help him. She used to, pass a hammer or a drill while we were all just running around this roof eating KFC, right? So if you can, you bring your family along. Yeah. If I got to work, let me see how I can bring my family along. And then I don't care how tired he was on Saturday night, Sunday morning. My dad was, it's easier now. We throw on a T-shirt and a jacket and we go. My dad was in a suit and tie.
Let's go.
And saying, let's go. We're going to church,
awesome.
So not easy. And my father, not perfect either. But those are good examples of how you can bring people along and saying, I'm going to try to be the best man I can.
Yeah.
But I love what you said. Maybe last season you didn't get it right. Let's get it right this season.
Yeah.
And let's not continue. One of the things I want to tackle maybe in the next few moments we have is, what are the greatest temptations for men that distract us from becoming steadfast fathers, steadfast husbands, steadfast men? We're in this theme of steadfast for the year. What are some of these temptations that distract us? What we're talking about that distracted Adam. What do you think are some of the largest temptations that men are facing?
Well, the Bible talks about the lust of the eyes,
the
lust of the flesh, and the pride of life.
Yeah.
I know on a previous podcast, Adam has brought up the synonym of it being girls, gold, and glory. And it's oftentimes it is the main fall of what a man goes into. It's either some sort of lustful desire after a woman, or it's just wanting recognition and glory and all of attention, or it is money and just the things that we will do for money and the things that we'll chase after for money. And and a lot of times we end up falling into things that we've seen or observed because it's all that we know. And I think as men, that's probably one of the biggest things is you get scarred from a kid, where it's something that you saw whether a father do or his father-like figure do, and you just think this is normal. And so the way that your father or a male figure in your life treated women, that's the normal way. So you grow up and you're going to have a ton of women in your life because that's what you saw. Or it's like you just saw the male figure in your life and all they cared about was money, and it didn't matter who they had to backstab or who they had to tear apart. Like, it didn't matter because they just got to get the check and they got to get the money.
Absolutely.
Or you saw somebody that was just all about glory for themselves, and it's like, I want that. I want what that person has. I want that influence. And so a lot of times it's a lot of the scars that we even grew up with, the things that we saw, the things that we carry.
Let's talk about some of these really quick. I love what you said. So let's go, but let's tackle these one by one. Maybe we won't go too long, but let's talk about money, the temptation of money. I think some people deal with it better than others. Some people are tempted by it more than others. Some men are tempted by it more than others. But I've had real life situations where I've been with some men talking to them where they will do whatever for money. And I just get it. They want a good life. They want to they want to hit the jackpot. They want the bag, and so they'll do whatever to get whatever amount of money in the shortest time possible. So we're tempted by that money because we want a comfortable life. We want a good life. And I get it. Nothing wrong in wanting that. But in that temptation, you do something that you shouldn't do.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys have some practical examples. I don't know if there's something that you guys have dealt with, maybe even personally, or something you guys have seen. But I want to talk about the temptation of money for a moment because it is very real.
I mean, even going back to that example you mentioned a few moments ago, right? About the father who was out providing, wasn't there for his kids, right? It's like the Bible tells us, and easily this could be your motivation. It says a man who does not provide for his family is worse off than a sinner, right? So it's a noble thing to be able to think, how can I provide for my family? How can I get more? A lot of what men will deal with, especially in the context of provision or money or possessions, you have to ask yourself those deep philosophical questions of like, okay, am I working more? Am I trying to attain more because I need it or because I want it? And there's nothing wrong with having the desire, right? I think there is something beautiful about, hey, when you come into my house, I want to have nice furniture. I want my kids to have nice toys. I don't want but everything has a cost, right? There's a cost to everything in life. And it's like, you can get them that iPad, but now they have no peace. Or they don't have their father. And it's like, you have to ask yourself that question. So what can easily happen is we as a society, especially in America, we are enamored with possession. We are like your status is based off of what you have, what you can attain, what you can possess. And the temptation of like, every man wants to be seen in a high regard. I can't think of a single man that wants to be the butt of a joke, that wants to be the person that everyone just tramples over or thinks poorly. I think everyone has a noble desire to want to be honored. But our definition of honor is skewed, and the temptation of money is one of the most perverted ones because it tells us that if we have more, we are more, and you cannot be a whole man until you realize that your value is not found in what you have, or what your bank account says, or your Bitcoin, which right now isn't looking too good. But like, it's not like it has nothing to do with your monetary value, but it has to do with the value when you bend your knee to the lordship of Jesus Christ, and that your value is found in Him. That's why I love the Apostle Paul. And he writes in Philippians 3, and this has become like a life verse where it's like, I consider all as loss. I can consider all as dung. You know what I mean? But to know Him is like, that's the gain. Like everything else is throw it all away. Forget the money, forget the temptation, all that. Like just knowing Christ is that's where it's all about. So like practically, how does that look?
Well, think about it. In a city like ours, if you don't have certain things, you are looked at as less.
Yeah, for sure.
Less than. So a man, whether you're married or single or a family man, if you don't have a certain car, if you or your family don't have certain clothes, if you guys aren't on a certain vacation, like, everything okay? You guys good? Right? And so as a man, you feel that pressure. And then some of us are enamored with possessions. There's something ingrained in us where we just want more. And there's this greed, and you're fighting against that. And I've seen a lot of men for the temptation of money or gold, going back to that large temptation. Some men fall for the gold. They will do something illegal. In Miami, we hear about this all the time. I don't know where people are watching from, but people do all types of illegal things to get the bag, to get the money, to hit the jackpot. So it's like, man, if I I'm not a D-boy. I'm not a drug dealer. But if I just help this one thing, this I'll take this one trip. And I can walk away with 150 grand. I don't know. I'm just giving examples.
No, absolutely.
They're pretty precise examples.
I've been there, brother. I know.
Right? It's like, I'll be good. This will make my year. And it'll bring me peace. I'll be good. And I'll have the money. Then I can have the car. I could do. And it's like, for the trappings of money, we make poor decisions. And so as a man, maybe this is your temptation today. We're just here talking, saying we are tempted by all kind of things. If we want to be steadfast men, godly men, watch out. Money is not all there is. I grew up in a home, and we talked about this before. I grew up on Struggle Street, right? My dad knew, and he was probably feeling the pressure of not being able to give us the best. I didn't have Nikes till I was late teenager or something like that. I didn't have Jordans till I was 25. We didn't have a lot of things. But man, we had a tight family. We were good. And I would say most kids, they don't want things. They want you.
It's true. It's true. I've also noticed is when it comes to even this topic, like who we're around matters.
Yes.
And I'll like good. In just the most lighthearted. When I was in college, I was studying finance, and that's the route I thought I was gonna go. And a lot of my buddies, they study finance and they kept it going. One of my best friends in the world, he is killing it. Him and his wife do phenomenal. They make an astronomical amount of money. But whenever I'm with them, it's not even that it's like they tempt in any way, but you almost feel like you're less than because I don't have some of the things that they have. And so I don't have the size property they have, or I'm not wearing some of the brands that they have on. And so you're almost like, you know what, I have to get some of these things. And so
did I ever tell you guys a story of when I went to go eat with some of my rich friends? It's like the whole, is it Kevin Hart in his comedy sketch where he talks about hanging out with Dwayne Wade?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, by checking in my savings,
so my bank account works.
Yeah. So they invited me to go eat. And when they picked the restaurant, I'm like, I don't know if I can eat there cheap. So we go eat. And they were being very kind, and they wanted to cover our bill. We're like, no, come on, we're gonna pay for this. No. And when they hand over the bill, I was like, I should have let them pay.
Klarna.
But can I Klarna or Afterpay this bill? But yes, be careful who you hang out with, because then all of a sudden the temptation is like, oh man, I need to have that status. I don't have this. Or then if it becomes an often hanging out, it's like you're gonna be broke really quick. You don't have that type, and it's okay. And it's like, I'm not less than. I'm just in a different tax bracket, and that's okay.
And we kind of talked about it when I was like 18 years old. I got into credit card debt because you want to start matching clothes to the lifestyle you're trying to portray. And so I remember being 18, 19 years old. It's like I got credit card debt now because of all these things. And so it's the Miami lifestyle.
And we talk about that all the time. There's some young guys that are getting into debt. And it's like you were saying, do not get into debt. Number one, trappings of a man. We tackled money or gold. And be careful. Don't do anything illegal or dumb for money. It's okay. You're not less than. You're still a provider, no matter what. I'm going to talk about the second one, girls. This is a major one. So I've had guys approach us and they tell us, hey, the thing is, my issue is women. It's like, can you pray for me? My biggest temptation is women. I know I'm different than you guys, but mine's women. And we look at them often and we're like, this is a trapping for all men.
For sure.
Men are tempted by, obviously, women. It's normal. So I don't want nobody to feel different because they are tempted by women, or you think it's like this is a thing that we all got to face with and deal with. I want to hear from some of your thoughts and when it comes to this temptation that has made a lot of men fall.
There's a pastor named Cliff. I can never pronounce his last name. It's like Canuto or something like that. And he's known for going to college campuses. And he goes and preaches on college.
He's awesome.
Awesome. So one of the questions he gets asked so often is, especially on a lot of these college campuses, has to do with homosexuality. And his response towards homosexuality is always one that I listen to and I think about, because he goes the same way that some of you might have these desires for a homosexual relationship. He goes, do you think that as a heterosexual man that my desire is only for one woman for the rest of my life? And he goes, that's normally not a man's desire. You don't just desire one woman for the rest of your life. Your natural inclination is for multiple women or all these things. And like, yeah, there's going to be a desire there. Now, the difference is what the desire is versus how you act on the desire or respond to the desire. And so you might have a desire, or your struggle might be women, but it doesn't mean that you have to respond to what these inclinations or these things go on. And I'm going to go back one more time towards Adam and Eve. And when you think about how God created humanity, and when he created this first marriage that takes place, when you see it's like, okay, what's the purpose for a marriage? Well, it's where the two leave their homes and now they become one.
Yeah.
And so what's the purpose for your marriage? That the two become one. So that means the way that God designed us is for one woman, to have that one relationship. And so that's how we're designed by God.
Yeah.
Now, our inclinations and our proclivities and the things that we desire might be different, but you got to understand, part of natural design of how God created you was for this.
Yeah,
it was for this one. It was for this thing. And so things in our decisions definitely will make that worse. And so now we live in 2026 where there's things that are so much more accessible.
Yeah.
So though we know, okay, this is your design, we start to flirt with certain things.
Yeah.
So whether that be starting to look at girls on social media, or whether that be falling and struggling with pornography, or the accessibility of being able to talk to somebody that isn't your spouse or the person that God has designed you with, now because of things that are so easily accessible,
Yeah, absolutely.
now these inclinations or these struggles can become that much more vivid. They can become that much more stronger because now there's so much easier accessibility. We were talking about money before. It's not that easy to just go ahead and, you know what, like I'm going to just make $500K right now. Like, but for something like this, where you can get a quick satisfaction, whether in this idea of lust or pornography or quick, it's fast, it's accessible, it's right there. So you've talked about the things that we allow into our minds, the things, whether it be our eyes, the things that we're hearing, because now you've allowed these small things, now they become a bigger thing and a bigger heart issue and a bigger root issue. And literally the goal is I need to uproot this thing out completely.
Yeah, that's it.
And I love what Jesus says, where it's like, hey, you got to be born again.
Yeah,
and it's like, hey, you might have even been born with these things, but that means when you're born again, you have to remove everything from the ground, and it starts from the ground up, and then there's some groundwork that needs to take place.
And I want people listening, especially the men listening, to know we're with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've all fought this temptation.
Yep.
We all live in this flesh. Like none of us are exempt from any temptation, whether it's money, girls, or glory. We're all in this. And so whether it's been tempted by porn or been tempted by images on social media or been tempted by a coworker or a friend who, gave you a smile and said some things. It's like we're living in this real world. And it's denying our flesh.
So true.
It's denying our flesh. It's getting accountability. One of the things we've done as pastors of Calvary, and we've done this throughout the last decade, we'll get together every once in a while and talk about it as men. The Calvary pastors, we get together in the room and we talk about everybody doing good. We've read books on how to stay clean. Make sure we got accountability people in our lives.
Right.
Talked to one of the pastors in my life recently. I'm like, hey, I want you to hold me accountable. I want you to ask me some tough questions, because we all, like nobody,
true.
none of us are floating around.
Yeah.
Right? None of us are floating around. None of us are with a halo and we're not tempted. It's like we are all living in this real world. And so look out for those blind areas in your life, I don't know, Adam, if you want to speak a little bit into that.
No, absolutely. The name of the game is you have to be real with yourself. You have to be real with yourself, meaning if you know that's a struggle, or even if it's not so much say girls aren't, or just overall like sexual morality or sexual desires isn't like your number one temptation as a man. Cool. That doesn't mean it's still not a temptation, right?
Yeah,
so
it's true.
You just have to be real with yourself that you don't even open up the door to it. And for me, I have a little bit more of a, I guess, leverage over it just due to the fact that I've seen what infidelity and what that stuff does to a family from firsthand in my own family. So like I am hypersensitive to anything, and I just had to make conscious decisions that I'm just not going to allow myself to see certain things, to even and mind you, it doesn't have to be bad. Like the Apostle Paul says, sure, it could be lawful, but that doesn't mean it's beneficial.
Right.
So like, for example, a practical thing, like my wife loves watching reality TV shows. I personally, I don't watch them, but she loves watching reality TV shows. And every so often I'll see a show that she's watching, and I don't call them beautiful. There are handsome women there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just go away. And it was that meme from The Simpsons of Mr. Smithers. And he's just like this, that's gonna be me. And that's because I don't even want the little bit of I don't even want the door to be cracked open a little bit. Like I want to make sure it's locked up. Like my social media algorithm right now, like I make sure I tailor it. If I see even an inkling of anything, I'll put an algorithm. Hey, I'm not interested, or I'll block an account or whatever. Like my algorithm right now, you go on my Explore page, it's gonna be football, wrestling, and just memes.
Yeah,
and
I think there's times where we've all even talked about it. We deleted our social media for seasons.
Yeah.
And it's like we're not on it. And there's no apps on our phones. It's like, kind of like, no, we want to be faithful.
Yeah.
And not because we're better, it's because we struggle just like you.
Absolutely.
And so it's like we gotta watch out. But if you're a man who's allowing all these images to come into your mind 24/7, you're probably gonna be more susceptible to fall. Because you're not watching out. So these are just some of the kind of like guidelines that we are trying to live by, that we are the guardrails, that we are trying to put in our lives because we are far from perfect. But it's real, and I've seen sometimes where you're off social media for months. I know one of our friends, Kenny, does the same thing. Kenny, I think he's been off of it for like 3 years now. And so it's just things that you have to be careful. If this is a big, weak area in your life, how can you get some strength in that area? Because it's stuff that men deal with all the time.
Me and one of my best friends, his name is Johnny, we got married about the same time. It was a 2-month difference, and again, we know ourselves. Over the last 10 years, we've really just been intentional on being like, hey, we're going to keep each other accountable and all these things. So getting married, we wrote down a few things on just how to protect this area, especially. And so just I was looking through them. And number one is never think it couldn't happen to you. And I think the moment that we think, oh, this will never happen to me, is the moment you are susceptible to it.
That's great.
Stay away from anything that turns you on that's not your spouse. Don't be alone with someone of the opposite gender. Be careful accepting gifts from the opposite sex. Be careful accepting compliments from the opposite sex. If you feel someone is coming on to you, tell your spouse immediately. If there's someone you don't feel comfortable being around your spouse, let them know. Be intimate spiritually and emotionally. If you start to feel an emotional or physical attraction to someone else, leave. And do not deny sex for long periods of time. And these are things that we're just like, okay, we're going to make sure that we're keeping this.
With all of those, my God, that's a great list. You know what we're going to do? I want to have an episode, maybe we have like 8 of us up there.
Like a round table?
Yeah. And we're going to go over that list. That's a great list. I'm glad that you guys wrote that. Kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you guys remember the Billy Graham rules that he had. One of them was never be with a woman of the opposite sex alone, with a person of the opposite sex alone. Now, that sounds extreme. I've seen and I've heard people say, well, that's extreme. My God, if you can't be in a car with another woman or an elevator with another woman, it's like, some things need to be extreme. Because we are men with temptations, and I'd rather be extreme in some areas than pay the price later.
That's it.
So it's like, if I have to be extreme, I know that may seem crazy to you, but I'd rather be extreme because I want to get to 95 in a rocking chair, looking around and still see Diana and still see my kids and still have my family united. So I'd rather be extreme. Like, Billy Graham wouldn't get in an elevator with another woman. And so I know it seems extreme, but I'd rather be extreme in one area than pay the price later. I've known guys, like sometimes this thing becomes like a game. I've known guys where they just allow the flirting. They'll receive a gift from somebody, or they'll have a small conversation because it's just a game to them. See if I still got it. Maybe somebody listening today, that's their struggle. It's like, but I just want to see, like, this girl's still interested in me. You're married. You've been married for 15, 20, 25 years, but you just want to see if you still got it. And it's like, I've known men that entertain that game. You go down that road, it is not a good road. The Bible says you destroy yourself. The man who goes into the house of a prostitute, basically, another woman who is opening her doors to you, you destroy yourself. And it's like, whoa, do I want to live a life that's destroyed? I know it seems kind of crazy, but it is a real truth. I don't want to destroy my life. But there was a lot of really good ones in that list that I think we'll talk. Because of time, let's start to wrap up. By the way, if you need help in any of these areas, I hope you're going to a local church. If you are in South Florida and you don't have a church, come to Calvary. We've talked about this openly. We talk about it with each other. We all have accountability people. If you are a man and you want to be a steadfast man, make sure that you got some people in your life that you're talking to, because we all want to reach the end of our race and still be well. The last one is glory. And so the temptation of glory, and this is having ego, being known. I get all the glory. I'm the one that is known. I don't know if you guys can feel a little bit there for the next couple minutes as we wrap up.
Just briefly, I'll just say, like, I'm grateful for you, Pastor Alex, because you'll never let any sort of ego be on our life.
Yeah.
And the minute that we ever would, you would call it out in a second. And so, like, we need people in our life that can see that in us. But again, natural inclination, just the way with money, just the way with girls, is you love feeling like, hey, I love what that person, the way they complimented that, the way that they said, I'm great at this. And if we're not careful, something that's meant to go to God, we'll want for ourselves.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, Adam, I don't know if you want to.
No, that's that right there. I will tell you is was originally an area that I struggled with, where it's like, okay, you excel in these areas, you excel in these things, especially in ministry, and we have a culture of honor where it's like, even you show up on time. Oh man, this person, they're the best. They show up on, like, that's like the bare minimum, but it's so easy to let those things get to your head. Like, oh yeah, I am that great. I am that wonderful. And where I struggled was actually I swung the pendulum the other way, where it's like, I can't even receive a compliment. And it wasn't from even a noble place. It was more from the sake of like, it's not because I wanted to give God all the glory. I had to ask that question myself. It was just more so that, I don't know. It was like reverse. It's like that victim mindset where it's like, oh, poor Adam, he's so humble. It's like, no, man, kill that. And there's nothing wrong with receiving compliments or wanting to be seen in an honorable way. Yeah. But the moment that we pervert that desire, where it's like we're no longer giving the credit where it's due, which is all onto Christ, or we're trying to get reverse glory because we live in a society where like the more you're a victim, the more noble or the more celebrated you are. It's a weird dynamic, but the name of the game is just be secure in yourself. Like you don't need affirmation from anyone or anyone. Is great when it comes. And there's nothing wrong with receiving compliments, because when you honor people, you're honoring God, because you're confirming, hey, he made the right decision in putting you in that place or putting you in that role or so on and so forth. But you just have to be secure in yourself. And just because somebody else is in a place or a level that you aspire to be and you're not there, it doesn't make you less than. It just means, okay, cool. Now you have a target to aim for. But ultimately, you should know that your worth, when it comes to your notoriety, your honor, is not based off of what people say of you. It's what the Father says, right? When he affirms Christ and says, hey, this, before Jesus did anything, he goes, this is my son in who I'm well pleased and who I love. It's like, don't just read that for Christ, read that for you. Yeah. And as a man, like, you can easily think the more that you have is going to be the more that you will, the more glory you receive is going to be the more girls you attain or the more possessions that you attain. But the reality is, like, all those things, again, count them as loss. Just knowing him and knowing that you have value in him, and being secure in that, and being secure in you, in your quirks and your proclivities and your random things that you do, and you're eating pudding all the time. Be secure, you know what I mean? Like, be you know, I mentioned that because that's who I am. Like, I eat pudding and popcorn all the time. But just be secure in yourself, and you don't have to worry about what anybody has to say, because you already know, like, I am who I am.
Yeah, very good.
When you chase glory, you'll never be enough.
Exactly.
And you'll spend your whole life trying to get to this place, and you might even get there and then realize it doesn't feel as great as I thought it was going to feel.
Yeah, very true. But I think one of the things in our city, I'm sure people see it, it's a human nature thing in men, but in our city and our culture that goes along with this is respect.
Yeah.
So men will do anything to be respected.
Yeah.
And if they feel disrespected, they'll go to any lengths to make sure, no, you got to respect me. Like, so it's a protection of name. It's that ego. It's that glory. And it's trappings. You know, you want to be a man that's steadfast. You want to be a good man, a good husband, a good father, a good leader, a good follower, a good business owner, whatever it is. Be careful for that trap that people need to know who I am. They need to know my name. Put some respect on my name, right? And it's like, you know, then you'll do anything for validation. Yeah. You know, like you were just talking about, it's like, just be comfortable in the validation you get from your heavenly Father.
Yes.
Maybe you didn't have an earthly father that validated you. Maybe you didn't have nobody to ever say, son, I'm proud of you. I love you so much, and be there with you. There's a Father in heaven who loves you.
Yeah. Amen.
And you don't have to fall into all these trappings of having, looking, showing to get the respect. Be confident in the man that God has called you to be. Yeah. I think we could talk about this a whole lot more, and we will. I know today it wasn't for women, but maybe there's somebody in your life that you know that hopefully this conversation could help them.
Yeah.
But thank you guys. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing a little bit. I think we can talk about this a whole lot more, and we're going to do it. But yeah, the trappings of what stops you from being a man that God has called you to be. Be a steadfast man. We're all in this together. Like I always say, we haven't arrived. We're not there. We're far from perfect. We are men with a whole lot of failures in our life. We are men who are jars of clay that are being molded by the Father.
Amen.
And so we are nothing special, but we love the Lord, and every day striving to love Him and be like Him. And so hopefully 100 years will pass, and we're still loving Jesus, loving our families. We love you. Always remember that if you change yourself, you can change your world.